Hello, Likers. Welcome back to our channel. It's me, your fave, your one and only, your baby girl, Malika. So, Likers, today we are doing the critical review of Mr. Aloy series when marriage becomes a nightmare. Episode 50, part 1. It starts with Jonathan, who is sitting, impatiently waiting for his wife, to return based on the fact that she went on a mission. Now she comes back with smiles on her face, and Jonathan is wondering, like, what's going on? you know I don't know if Jonathan was thinking that you just go and deposit the documents and you just receive money immediately, but now, being the fact that this girl is a good player, she's playing her game too well. She's sitting down comfortably, reassuring Jonathan, making him to know that everything is set, everything is okay, everything is under control. Like they had the discussion and the people accepted, because it's normal now. Jonathan is very anxious. He needs to know, he needs to understand that, because at this point, all the only thing he's trying to do is to protect his fake supposed legacy, the Big Joe legacy, the legacy of going to club and pop 2.5 million naira champagne, or spend 2.5 million or 5 million naira in clubs. That is what the Big Joe, that's what he's known for in Lagos, according to him, you know. And his wife is there to accomplish that, to help him, get his dream, to help him get his name back, to make sure that everything falls in place and everything. And Jonathan, this is the type of wife that he wanted, a wife that will not, because when you look at it, it's obvious that Debbie um Jetta is that kind of wife that will not scold you, because to her, Jonathan is perfect, whereas Jonathan does not know that it is all a game plan, because a wife that will accept your shenanigans, will be with you in the when she knows very well that it is wrong. It's crazy. It's really crazy, you know. And now Jetta is making Jonathan to understand that they have arrived, that Jonathan will get his name back, Big Joe, the Big Joe, as he loves to be called, is has arrived, regardless of anything that he thinks, he has arrived. Yes. I don't know why Jonathan will not sit for a second and think as a sensible man that he can be. Don't tell me that a fool, which is true, they say a fool at 40 is a fool forever. So now Jetta want to pull another one more trick of hers, Definitely when you deposit a document like that, you will definitely need something to prove that you have done that. So that is a proof she's taking out from her bag, to make Jonathan understand that everything that they are doing is legit, 100% legit, and everything is cool. She can go through the documents, and everything, and see that everything is right there on the right track, because definitely they have to wait for them to be called, for the bank to call them, and use the house to give them the loan. So definitely, as Jonathan saw, he was very happy. He had to hop on his wife, holding her tight, because to him it's more like she is his savior. To him it's more like, if not for you, that was what it looked like. So the next thing shows Benita, the Benita ran away from the house, away from her dad. So she was walking, roaming down the street on her own, and you could see a vehicle coming behind her, a black Lexus, you know and as God be so kind, glory be to God, that it was somebody that she knew, because somebody called her Benita, and thank God it was none other than Kenny. Kenny is a good guy. Kenny was wondering, why would she be doing out at this time of the night, like, what's up, what's going on, eventually. So Benita, she's a child, and she knows that Kenny means well, so she couldn't hold it no more. When you've been keeping something which was right, you've been keeping something inside for so long, at some point you just have to burst out. She burst into tears and explain, and he was shocked. Kenny was shocked. The lies. Why? Because how do you explain that you're a father who is supposed to protect his child, will be the one to expose her? It doesn't make sense, because parents are supposed to protect kids, and Kenny cannot comprehend, like, this. We've had this, because to him it's more like, we've had the discussion before, and this guy, you're not supposed to sell. This is what he will be thinking to himself. But at this point, Benita is a child, and the only thing she wants right now is not to go back to the house. But Kenny, as a responsible man, he has to take her back there, because that is what any responsible person will have to do. because not taking her back there will mean a lot of things. It will make it seem like, something is fishy somewhere, and he really did well to take her back. Even though Benita didn't want to return to her father's house, she'd rather stay on the streets than to return there, based on the way she was talking. But thank God for Kenny. Kenny managed to, convince her to enter the car with him so that they could go. And Kenny was really pissed. Kenny was so pissed because to him it is absurd. The next thing shows Jonathan that he's stressed. He is home. He's wondering where his daughter could be. Well, and Jetta is coming downstairs, to find her man, because it's late and she's expecting that they'll go to bed. But when she finds Jonathan quiet, and not happy, and realize that Jonathan is thinking about his daughter, because the plot here is to separate that family entirely. Based on the way they're behaving, you see that it is just to separate the family. Jetta is trying to reassure him that, guy, forget about that child. She's somewhere there having fun, enjoying herself with her friends. Whereas this is a man that has his child, and he knows very well that his child does not have a friend. He has never seen his child with one. Anyways. But Jetta wants to convince him that that child already knows men, she's knacking already and all the rest, and that she's knacking rich men even, and that's one of the reason why she does not respect her dad, because she's knacking rich men and everything. Her dad is broke, that he will be surprised to see that that girl, knows things that he does not even know. Like, it is so wrong to say this to a father, because we all know how father protect their daughters, and we all know how mother protect their son, even if they are OS. You understand? It was so wrong to even voice it out. So Jetta is even, because Jetta loved this girl. Jetta is even trying to make her understand that, see, my daughter is not like that. My daughter cannot do that. No, she cannot. Vegeta is not her business. All she wants is to try as much as she can, to convince Jonathan that this is who your daughter is. She's knacking already. And not only knacking, she'll be knacking somebody that is even who is richer, who is rich. So the next thing shows Kenny, who is outside with this child, with Benny, and Benny is refusing to go inside. Kenny wants to take her in, but she refuses because they've arrived at their home, but she's refused. She's very angry. She wants to make Kenny understand that regardless of bringing her there, she's not going into that home because her father did her dirty. Yeah, she's not ready to go inside. Her father didn't do well. So the next thing shows Jonathan and his wife inside, that they want to go and sleep. She wants them to go out. She does not want him to wait. What is he waiting for? And the next thing, and then somebody ring the bell, and bang the door, boom, 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 and they are looking at each other like, what's up? So Jonathan decided to go and check what was going on. When he got there, I don't know what he was expecting, or I don't know. So when he got there and opened the door, he saw that it was Kenny. And Kenny was very pissed because Kenny is a very straightforward man. He is a man that there are certain things that he really, really does not like. There are certain things that, doing it in his presence, sorry about that, doing it in his presence turns him off. So to him, it was more like, a father, aren't you supposed to be the protector of your child? How is it possible, how is it possible that you, that is supposed to be the protector of your child, you are the one exposing your child? You could see how Jonathan was looking because of the way Kenny was talking to him, because he was looking, he knows that his wife was there. If he had kept quiet, it wouldn't have been nice. She would have been pissed. So to him now, he wants to be a man. He wants to talk back at Kenny, to make Kenny know that Kenny shouldn't get involved in his business, with his family, blah, 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 and all the rest. But that's bull crap, telling Kenny not to get involved with your family and everything. It's crazy because this is Kenny's family too. Your wife, when she was all through, when she was outside, she was taking care of, Kenny was taking care of her, Clara. Kenny was trying his best, sorry, to make sure that she was okay. The house that she lived in before moving to Canada, Kenny looked for that house for her. You know, so this is her family. This is his family. Also, sorry. You know, Kenny was so pissed. Kenny poured his venom on Jonathan because Jonathan was doing the most of it. Because how can a man, is it not a child that is supposed to say, this is my father's house? A child is supposed to fight for property. This is my father's house. This is my father's property. You know, not a dad fighting for a child's property when that child is still alive. Kenny was shocked alive to be like, guy, how could you be fighting for your daughter's property when you're still alive? A property that was given to her by her mother, your ex-wife. What kind of man are you? Aren't you the one that's supposed to protect your child? Why would you be the one to steal from her? But to him, we all know that he is justifying himself by saying that what belongs to his daughter also belongs to him. Is it not the other way around? Is the daughter not supposed to say what belongs to my dad also belongs to me? This is crazy, guys. I'm telling you, this life of today, things are changing. And we know that Jeta couldn't wait. She had to get involved. Try to show herself, try to make Kenny know that her presence, she's there, by making him understand that he shouldn't talk to her husband like that because this is a family matter. But for Jetta to get involved, it means that Jetta does not really know Kenny, because Kenny will finish you. He wouldn't even care that your husband is there. Kenny will tell you what you have to hear. And Kenny brought hell on her. Yes, Kenny made her understand that she wasn't even supposed to open her mouth. Talk less of breeding. Yes, because what woman would you be? What kind of woman are you? That cannot, you can't even respect yourself. Yes, you're incapable of respecting yourself because you are a loser. Because to Kenny, she is a loser for advising her husband to even think of taking a loan with a house that belongs to their child. Who does that? Who does that? This is crazy. So, like, Jetta could not even speak again because Kenny was bamboozling her with, like, Kenny was not even sparing her. Even her husband was scared. Kenny didn't care. Kenny descended on her because how dare you? Yes, this is a thing. This child. This is a child, 16-year-old on the streets. What if those bad people had met her? What do you have any idea of what would have happened? So those are the things that make Kenny angry. And now for this weary to redeem himself, he said he hopes that his child is not in Kenny's house, because everybody knows that Kenny loves small children. Kenny is a pedo. You understand what I mean when I say that? I cannot pronounce the entire word. Yes, when I say that, you understand what I mean. And Kenny was just laughing at him. Kenny was like, look at you. Don't you have shame to use such words when you know that it's not true? Kenny was laughing because to him, he's senseless trying to say that. Because how could you, a man, a grown-up man, let your child roam the streets? What if something bad would have happened to her? What would you have said if something bad really happened to her? Kenny was really pissed because of that. But Jonathan, what could Jonathan say? Another person is protecting your child. And Kenny wants to go. He's trying to block Kenny to talk to him about not touching his child as if Kenny touches kids. Honestly, there are some fathers that rather than having them as parents, or some parents even, you rather be an orphan and hustle on your own. So the next thing shows Kenny will go back into his car, trying to convince baby girl to return home. She says she's not going anywhere. She's refusing. She doesn't want to go because to her she doesn't feel safe. What's the essence of her going back into that house? A house that her father cannot protect her. She's on her own. Like, what's the essence? And it makes sense. If you ask me, I'll tell you that it makes sense. Because parents are supposed to be there for their kids. But when you a father, you're not there for your child, what do you want that child to do? And Jonathan comes out and see his daughter and is trying to convince to take her home. Yes, he wants her to go home with him. What home? The same home that you're taking away from her head? The same roof that you don't want her to have? Like, as we are going to end this video, this is crazy, honestly speaking. Like, having a father, there are certain type of fathers that on more, you better not have them. Even mothers, there are some mothers that it is not even good to have them. You know, it's better not to have a mother. So, like I always say, protect your mental health is very important. Don't let people break you down. Don't let anyone break you. Don't. Always protect your space because it's very important. There are certain people that comes into your space to destroy everything. Thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for your support. And on this note, I have to say bye, guys.